Welcome to Teach Abroad, where we meet English teachers from all over the world. I am your host, Inika Estabrook, and for my very first interview, we are meeting Cindy Barchers. Cindy and I met at our first teacher training program, TEFL Worldwide Prague, and we were the oldest people in our program by a couple decades. So we immediately had a really strong bond. I moved away right after our TEFL program, but Cindy stayed in Prague and spent a year teaching English there before she went home to care for her ailing father. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Cindy. Thank you so much for being with us today. I am so happy to have you. And this is our maiden voyage, my very first interview on Teach Abroad. Woo. So, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Cindy Birchers, and I taught in Prague. I took the same TEFL class that you took. And before I moved to Prague and took that course, I was a nurse for 27 years in a children's hospital.
In a children's hospital.
Mhm.
And why did you decide to leave all that behind and embark on this maiden voyage across the ocean and teach English? What led you to that?
I don't know. I think that I just felt like I was in a rut and I wanted to do something interesting. And one day I was like surfing on the net and I found this opportunity and I just went for it. I started out at IJV, and I cannot remember it's Institute of something something in Czech in Prague in a really cool building. And I was teaching Ukrainian students.
Ukrainians, really?
Our whole class
English.
was, yes, our whole class was Ukrainian students that were in Prague. And if they took an English class, they got some kind of benefits from the government. I had the opportunity to go to one of the local hospitals and teach English to the staff there. And again, it wasn't medical English. I'm just teaching English.
Hmm.
And their hospital was paying for it. But I also had two classes, maybe four classes of medical English with actual nurses and physicians, and then another class that was three physicians. And I loved that. I got to pick the book that we used, and it was really interesting.
So I remember from when we were talking way back then that the finances were actually kind of difficult for you. Tell us about that.
One of the challenges that I found that I didn't really understand is, first of all, like in December 20th until like the end of January, you're not teaching. None of the curriculum classes that I was teaching at IJV, they're off. And if you're not teaching, you're not getting paid. And I didn't really have that many private students. And even my private students wanted to take some of that time off, which I understand. I mean, it's built into their culture.
Hmm.
And the same thing was going to happen once summer came. They they're done the end of May, 1st of June-ish until practically the end of September. And if you don't have a bunch of private students or, something to fall back on, it's not good.
I've been doing this for 5.5 years now, and
No, right?
I have, yeah, you have to budget for those. You have to budget for summer
Mm-hmm.
vacation, you have to budget for winter vacation, you have to budget for Easter vacation,
Right.
all their vacations.
Mm-hmm.
I have been really, really uh penny pinching in only using half of my salary. I save half my salary, and then when these things come up, I can handle it. But if you're not planning on it, that can be a real problem.
then I was, literally going in the hole.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, a couple of years later, I'm getting Social Security. I'd be stellar.
So this is an idea for some people who are on Social Security to.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell me about what what you imagine a life like that would be. Are you thinking about it?
With my Social Security income, that would provide the baseline that I needed,
Mm-hmm.
to pay my rent and my food and my utilities and stuff. And then anything that I made would be awesome. And I could, do like you did, like save half of the income.
So it sounds like the making enough money to live there was kind of a struggle for you. But now with Social Security, you've figured that out. And now the biggest struggle is getting a visa, permission to work there. It's harder now, isn't it?
I haven't seen any jobs like in Poland or the Czech Republic or Slo- Italy, Spain, France. They all want that EU passport. I really feel like people should know.
Yeah. I'm like, because like 5 years ago, they told you how to
Hmm.
do it. You fly in on a tourist visa. So
Right,
basically, you just say you're there for pleasure when really you have alternative plans. And then in that 3 months, because everybody
mhm,
from the United States is allowed a 3-month tourist visa to go anywhere in the EU. So you come in on a tourist visa,
right,
and then you had 3 months to tick off all of the things that they required you to do. So find a place to
right.
live, get
Find a
your health
job.
insurance, and
Hmm.
find a job, and get your stack of paper together and get to the embassy and all that good stuff. And it was possible. It was possible. I need to look into this further. But yeah,
Look into it further because that's what I'm finding now.
so 5 years ago, when you decided to do this, and what were the steps? What did you do to actually put it into action and come?
Well, I contacted the TEFL,
Mhm.
worldwide, you know what I mean.
TEFL Worldwide Prague. Yes.
Thank you. I contacted them. I paid for the class. I bought my airline ticket. I quit my job. I tried to pay off most of my bills in the United States and
You sold your
and just
house, didn't you?
just kind of went. Yeah. And I really, I loved Prague. Well, I know you liked Prague too, and I know you loved Brno.
So, did you have enough money to start this life?
I did. I did have enough money to start this life.
Mhm.
Excuse me, but just like me talking about Social Security, having some kind of underlying income, even if it's not very much, can really make a huge difference. And, and I don't mind pinching pennies at all, but you have to have some pennies to pinch. And it was less expensive to live there. The food is less, it's safe. It was it was a wonderful experience. The Czech people that I met were awesome. And once you kind of get to know a Czech person, I mean, they are your friend and they will do anything for you. They are good people. And I never ever felt scared in the Czech Republic. Ever. I never felt scared when I was walking home in Prague at 2 o'clock in the morning by myself. I just love the city. I mean, it was so fun to explore Old Town and, you know, Prague, because during World War II, they didn't fight the Germans. The Germans just took over. And so Prague was not bombed or, mutilated like so many cities in Europe. I mean, poor Poland, my God, they bombed them to the ground because they fought so hard. So the history there, and the museums and the churches, oh my gosh, for an atheist country, those churches are beautiful. You just, it just was, I don't know, it's just everything about it, the cobblestone streets and the public transportation, of course, was fabulous.
Mhm.
You don't need to drive there. You,
It's the
you
best in
don't.
Europe. I read that. Prague's
I
transportation was the
believe
best in
it.
Europe. So, what were some of the biggest challenges, and did you find being like the oldest one of all the people there a challenge too?
Okay, I will admit that the electronic stuff and computer stuff was very challenging to me,
Hmm.
especially in the TEFL class. And these youngsters helped me a lot as far as sending my lesson plans and doing this and showing me that. And that was just really challenging to me. But other than that, they treated me as a colleague, maybe more respectful than they would somebody their own age. But even still, I felt very included. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
They were really, really good to me, and I really appreciated that. And, so there were so many sweet things about living there. There really were. And about teaching English, I got to meet some really nice people. Like I have a Czech friend, Eva, that I absolutely love and adore, and she supported me when I first came over there. She and Christy, I met them before I even came to Prague. And Eva was Czech, and we'd go out all the time. She'd invite me over to her house and put out a spread of brie and different cheeses and wines, and we would talk English. But it was a friendship. I
Mm.
just adored her. I'm still friends with her.
Yay. So you built some lasting
Hmm.
friendships out of that.
I did. Yeah. The other thing that I would say to anybody that would even think about going to any kind of a foreign country, even if you don't speak the language, which I know you speak German, but Czech was so
Inaccessible.
difficult. If you would just go in somewhere and say, Dober den, jak se máte, prosím, následno, people were very appreciative that you tried.
I found that too.
And it's just interesting to meet people from different cultures and different countries. And of course, probably if you're going to make an American friend over there, you're going to have more in common. I get that. Of course you are, because, America is a culture also. But you just have to give it a chance to get to know different kinds of people and, what their culture is and what makes them tick and what's important to them, because that is really kind of what it's all about. Otherwise, just live in the United States.
What makes living international cool is the people, not the
Right.
buildings.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question.
Okay.
Someone with your background who wants this kind of life, what would you recommend to them?
I would recommend definitely that they go to a TEFL class, and definitely something that's not online like we went to, that is, in the trenches, because I really wasn't a teacher. Yeah, did I do education as a nurse? Of course I did. Every day with probably every patient I ever had.
So teaching was a real challenge for you, but I know you figured it out because you did it like for a year and they loved you. So what were some of the other things that you would recommend to people?
A, you have to have an open mind. B, you have to be open to new experiences. And C,
Mhm.
you have to be prepared maybe to fall on your face and then get back up. But you have to have a sense of humor. And the experience was absolutely wonderful. Nobody can ever take that experience away from me. And
Yeah.
I applaud you. I can't believe you're still over there. I needed to find me a Czech husband, girl. That's what I needed.
I'm going to figure out for you the easiest current way to get into Europe to teach.
You let me know what you find out.
And for all of our listeners too, if there are any of them, because this is a new podcast, I'm
Do you
going to
have any
find out.
advice? Absolutely.
So, as promised to my friend Cindy and to all of you who are interested, I have done a little research on how to get into a country legally and teach English with a legal visa. And it is more difficult now, post COVID, war in Ukraine. I'm not sure why, but it does seem more difficult. So, Cindy and I were specifically talking about Spain. It's difficult to get in as a getting a job and then getting sponsored by the job to get a work visa. It doesn't really happen much for English teachers. I'm sure it happens sometimes, but it's not a common way and it's quite difficult. So the way that people have been doing it is coming in as a student. And obviously, at our age, you're not going to be starting another master's degree unless you want to, but you take language lessons. So 3 times a week or something, you go in and take Spanish lessons or whatever class you're interested in, and then you can teach on the side. And teaching on the side can be a full-time job. So this is how a lot of English teachers get into Spain. This is a topic that a lot of people are interested in other countries too. So as I go through this process, I will be adding more like how to get a visa to work in X country, the different ways people have managed it. And it is not a 1, 2, 3 process. This is a quagmire. How did you get through it? And each person has their own individual story because it's not a 1, 2, 3 process. So if you like this video, please like it, please comment, and please share with a friend if you have someone who's interested in this topic. I want to thank all of you for watching, and I especially want to thank my friend Cindy for being my very first interviewee. Thank you, Cindy.